are a lot of dynamics at play. This is to silence someone with a platform. You have a big enough platform, they will try and silence you. So Kanye, Yeezy, yay. Okay. He's being sued for $250 million. Okay. He's also been issued a cease and desist letter. Now, here's why. From the family of George Floyd. This is why he is being sued. And this is important. It does affect you. It's easy to say, oh, this person's a celebrity. It's easy to say, oh, he put out some anti-Semitic tweets, or oh, he's bipolar, whatever issue it is that you have with Kanye West. But when you understand why he's actually being hit with this fine, why he actually might face legal ramifications, and what actually happened with Alex Jones, I recommend you go and watch our episode with him. It is having right now the effect that they wanted it to have, and we'll show you their exact words. But these are the statements that got Yeezy in hot water.
Watch the George Floyd documentary that Candace Owens put up. One of the things that his two roommates said was,
why is he yelling?
They want a tall guy like me.
I don't think
they want a tall guy like me. Hit him with the fentanyl. If you look, the guy's knee wasn't even on his neck like that. When he said mama is his girlfriend. They said he screamed for his mama. Mama was his girlfriend. It's in the documentary. The Free George Floyd zone that they made, the murder rate is up 50% since George Floyd. It's mayhem. It's Mad Max.
Okay. So the suit claims that his comments are detrimental, quote, to George Floyd's daughter and as the sole beneficiary of his estate. That's why they're claiming these damages. This is after, again, all references available at louderscrowder.com. Kanye paid $2 million towards George Floyd's family for his daughter's tuition. So again, this does matter. You may not like what he said. You may not like how he said it, but this tells you where the guy's spirit is. Even though he disagrees with the media narrative, $2 million to the daughter at that point because his heart went out to her. When do we get to the point where we start judging people based on their actions more than their words? We can't, because we have to judge them on skin color. We have to judge them on gender. We have to judge them on political affiliation. We have to judge them based on not only their own gender, but where they line up on the other countless /52 it just changed to 74 genders. $2 million to the family. And by the way, everything that he just said is accurate.
Yeah, but everybody's going to try and silence him and not, we didn't even know. You and I both didn't know that he had contributed any money to the family.
I had forgotten it, yeah.
And so it was money towards the family and towards her education. If she spends $2 million on a college education, I'm not exactly sure where she's going, right? But no, he's supporting people when they're in need, and then they're turning around and suing him for $250 million. I don't understand where the damages come from. I don't know.
Well, okay, so they're saying, and they're trying to be very opaque about it. They're trying to say that it's causing damages because this was settled in court. He wasn't killed by the drugs. It was Chauvin, and it's settled. And something interesting is that if Kanye goes into the paint here, guess what? That might actually force an acquittal for Chauvin if he now goes through a lawsuit and can prove that, no, wait a second, there were other reasons that contributed to his death. There are a lot of dynamics at play. This is to silence someone with a platform. You have a big enough platform, they will try and silence you. It's not about the kind of platform that you have right now. It's, do you, A, either want to be able to have a platform, any platform, and B, do you understand that it's necessary for people on your side to have platforms? Now, let's go through George Floyd's autopsy report at the time of death. And we've done this a lot. We went through this topic ad nauseum as it was taking place, but okay. There were no life-threatening injuries that were identified, okay? There was no physical trauma to the neck. He had COVID. He had hypertensive heart disease. He had arteriosclerosis. I can never say it. The hard veins.
Arteriosclerotic heart disease.
Yeah, arteriosclerosis. I can never say it. Can you say it? Don't make me look. Can you say it?
Arteriosclerotic.
No, that's not what it is. That's arteriosclerotic heart disease. I'm trying to say the word that people know in their head, but I can't say it.
We all know I can't say it.
Okay.
Arthritic. Asterotic.
Why are you here? And by the way, the
arteriosclerotic.
R. Kelly, heart disease.
Yes. All right. This
Archie
is
Bunker.
The meth levels in a system were 19 nanograms per milliliter, okay? And there were various forms of fentanyl. There was a cornucopia of fentanyl, totaling around 16.6 nanograms per milliliter. Wow. Again, all the references are available at louderscrowder.com. Hit the like button if you want to help the algorithm here, because a lot of people still don't know this information. The lethal amount of fentanyl, particularly in combination with other drugs, so they have a threshold, right? Lethal amount of fentanyl. And then, of course, that threshold changes if it's in combination with other drugs. You ever taken medication at home that says do not combine with other medications, do not combine with alcohol? It's very common. We all know it. They didn't talk about this in the media. So the lethal dose, or I think it's the mean dose of lethality for fentanyl in combination with other drugs, is only 7 nanograms per milliliter. Ooh. Again, he was at 16.6 and 19 nanograms of meth, which we know, by the way, meth, of course, is one of the worst drugs to combine with any of the drugs. By itself, it's a wonderful solo artist. I highly recommend it.
Yes.
Only if you don't want to have teeth.
Yeah, or you don't want to sleep for 9 days, and just don't take it unless you want your apartment to be pristine.
Yes,
and live forever.
Yes.
So, I was really interested in this. I thought once the tempers kind of flared down a little bit on this, we could go back and review the actual evidence of this case, right? And see, like, the information like this, if you look at this in a vacuum and you don't have the social outcry that was going on during this trial and during that time, you're like, wow, this guy left to his own devices in that car probably dies within hours, right? At the very least. And even the coroner, we'll talk about in a minute, the coroner even said, like, yeah, if you find him at his home, absent any other trauma, you're like, that's one hell of a drug overdose.
Well, you know what? Let's run, guys. I know we have that clip from our show. We'll run that last. But here, don't take my word for it. Here's a video presented during the Chauvin trial of George Floyd. In other words, to hear George Floyd say it, and again, this is a tragedy. Of course, you never want to see someone die, whether they're in custody or at their house. It's a life lost. But he said, I took too much drugs.
Did you hear that?
Yes, I did.
Did it appear that Mr. Floyd said, I ate too many drugs?
Yes, it did.
Now, does that mean it's
misspelled two?
Right. Does that mean that it's the only relevant? No, but it is relevant.
Very relevant.
And we've gone from Alex Jones, right? Well, don't say that the parents are crisis actors and harass them, which he never told people to harass them. He did say that he thought it was a hoax at one point. That was his opinion. But people would say that's an extreme If he just didn't do that, he wouldn't be sued and he wouldn't have lost. Well, hold on a second. Regardless of where you line up, Kanye repeated what George Floyd himself said and the autopsy report reveals. That's worthy of a lawsuit? Do you start seeing the picture here? And just in case you've forgotten, remember, the prosecutor from the Alex Jones trial said that this was not only to hurt Alex Jones, but to remove his platform and to act as a deterrent to anyone else speaking out. That was the goal of it.
I ask that with your verdict, you not only take Alex Jones' platform that he talks about away, I ask that you make certain he can't rebuild the platform. That's what matters. Take him out of this discourse, of this misinformation, of this peddling of lies, and make sure he can't do it again. That is punishment. That is deterrence. So I ask of you to take the bullhorn away from Alex Jones and take the first steps towards taking that bullhorn away from all the others who have it, or all the others who might want it, all the others who believe they can profit off of fear and misinformation. Make them understand that they too will sit their ass in that chair right there and have to actually respond in a court of law for what they do if they choose to do the same thing that Alex Jones did.
A couple of things. They weren't able to prove that Alex Jones profited off it. They just meant that his show was profitable. And at some point he mentioned Sandy Hook. Out of the years and 3 hours a day of footage, they could only find 25 minutes. And honestly, it wasn't nearly as damning as you would think. But let me ask you this. It's about the profit, right? That was the argument. It's because what Alex Jones said was so crazy. All right. What Kanye has said now is not that crazy. Whether you disagree or not, it's certainly factual. When he said there were drugs in his system, that George Floyd said he had consumed too high of a dose of drugs. When the autopsy report reveals that the blood levels are higher than the lethal dose required. Okay, let's ask another question. How is Kanye profiting off of it? How is Kanye profiting off of it? You could maybe argue if he has a single called George Floyd Didn't Die, ha! Right? But how is he profiting? It's not about the fact that Alex Jones was profiting off of it, which they didn't prove. It's not about the fact that what he said was so radical. It is, as he said, removing the bullhorn from anyone else. Hey, who's next? Because I don't believe, personally, that George Floyd died because of the knee on his neck. I think it was bad practice from the police. I think they were trained improperly because that was a practice that was taught to the police department. But I will say that 100%, okay, irrefutably, just a knee on the neck from a 165-pound man would not kill someone in that amount of time. Why? Well, I don't know. Is this worthy of a lawsuit? I did it.
Well, now
definitely
for people watching, I'm not
hostile
saying
he
this
is,
is
8
pleasant.
minutes in.
I'm asking, would this kill someone?
Somebody can do just fine in this position. It's uncomfortable, but it's not going to kill them, right?
It sucks, obviously.
No. What I will actually go further than that. My, I do grappling, and my father, who's a
1 minute,
a brown belt, It's far more uncomfortable for me to be under side control for him. I would not be able to maintain that for 9 minutes. And by the way, I have been talking this whole time, and in case people wonder, I talk really fast, and I have a heart condition.
Yeah.
It's a chest condition where my bone grows under my heart. I have to get surgery in July. The point is,
sounds like Alf.
The point is that this is probably more difficult for me than it is for a lot of you out there watching. But I also don't have 4 times the lethal dose of fentanyl in my system.
That's
and again,
true.
I'm just laying down because this is more comfortable.
Okay, I didn't hear, Seek. I couldn't hear you back then. I didn't realize that you said I sounded like Alf.
Well, you did.
Oh, I guess I shouldn't have taken that speedball.
Laced with fentanyl.
I should stay away from meth and stick with consuming cats.
Hanging out with the dad on his show. Yes. Just loved crack.
Oh, yeah. He'd be a fan.
Oh, yeah, big time.
He'd be like, yes, let's do those drugs. The guy, I want to replace one of the words that he said. He's like, and I'm going to say exactly what he said. I want them to have to sit their ass in that chair and answer for free speech.
Yep.
That's exactly what he wants. He wants to put free speech on trial. By the way, Alex Jones wasn't the first person to talk about that. Alex Jones wasn't calling for people to go after them. Kanye certainly is not the first person to say that George Floyd would have died from those drugs and that the knee wasn't on the neck like that. He's certainly not the first individual. The only reason I know that is because we watched the trial. That was the defense.
Right.
That was what evidence was presented to prove.
Yeah.
How in the world can you go after somebody for merely expressing an opinion that's already out there? And it has been
That's by design.
since it came.
That's by design. It's not by accident.
Well,
I know.
$1 billion in advertisement is a lot for that particular topic.
Right. Yeah. You would
I mean, that's really...
I don't understand. I don't understand how people think that this is a great way to go. Like, he's definitely going after free speech. Alex Jones, as much as you may hate what he said, had a right to say it.
And Kanye certainly has a right to say it. He absolutely has a right to say it, and everything that he has said is factually correct. You may not like the tone of it. Keep in mind, this is a guy who gave $2 million to the daughter of George Floyd. What have you virtue signaling white knights on TikTok done? Actions should matter. Remember when we judge people by their actions?
We used to.
They're like what we virtue signaled?
Yes, we did. We said that Kanye is bad.
Yes. What are you going to do to solve the problem? Well, I'm going to talk about it. We're actually going to hold a meeting there right next to the Cup of Foods.
I couldn't burn his physical album, so I just smashed my phone.
Yes, but are you actually going to raise money and do any? Well, no. Like I said, we've talked about it, so it's good, right?
Yes, I'll get another one from Apple, made by a young boy.
Yes, exactly.
In
Preferably
China.
of Oriental origin.
Hey, by the way,
I ignore that.
one silver lining. This is the first person to ever die with COVID that was not listed as a COVID death.
That's true. That's true. He did have the COVID. George Floyd.
Yeah.
If I say that, am I going to be sued?
No, but he did.
Hey, by the way, I'm fine with it.
Watch Louder with Crowder live, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern.